Hello, Deb. How are you doing today? Happy Sunday. Getting better. That's good to hear. Yeah, there's a lot of things in life that you can do too much of, but praying never falls under that category. That's something we can never do enough of. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Hello to Calvin, the Boston Terrierist. I think I said that right, Terrierist. But hello to Jeff. Happy Sunday to you. Hello to the sports card ripping teacher. Hope you're doing well. Happy Sunday. Jay Thompson came in right about the same time that the sports card ripping teacher came in. So this is a Cubs. The Cubs fans have entered in. I don't want to talk about baseball though. My Astros lost today, and the Mariners won, so my Astros are officially out of first place for the first time in a while. So I'm not happy about that. But the good news is it's just a game. Hello to Aries Virgo. Happy Sunday. Hope you're doing well. There's been a lot of good close games this week in football. Uh, the Cubs won today. That's good. I'm still holding on to my Astros Cubs World Series. Uh, Hopefully, the Astros will figure out how to win the division in these last 10 games, or at least make the wild card, one or the other. Just get into the playoffs. That's all you got to do to begin with. But in college football, my Auburn Tigers are doing pretty good, 3-0. But then in the NFL, my Saints are 0-2. So yeah, the Dallas and Giants was good. The Dolphins and Patriots was good. which the Saints even had a chance to win, but they didn't do nothing with their last drive. But I like good close football games, except for when it's my favorite team. That's when I want blowouts. But hello to Jessica Valdivia. Appreciate you stopping by. What does the 67 represent? Hello to Vintage Cards Steve. Hello to Peter Pan, Pretirement Days. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Sunday. Just get me a walk in right before dark. I had an extra helping of pot roast today, so I gotta see if I can do something about that. Hello to Rosebud. Hope everybody's had a great day. What is this? September the 14th, 2025 edition. Who are the Domers? I don't guess I'm familiar with that nickname. The Domers. I know the Saints were the Dome Patrol back in the day, but Notre Dame, okay. They call Notre Dame the Domers. I don't guess I ever heard that. I predicted that Texas A&M would win. No offense to the sports card ripping teacher. I just generally pull for the SEC teams whenever they're playing non-SEC teams. But it was a good game. Hello to Todd Saw. The Golden Domers. Jim Rome, okay. I remember Jim Rome. And Jim Rome and Jim Everett. Jim, don't call me Chris Everett. Usually when I go walking, I kind of have a theme to talk about, but I guess today I pretty much started out themeless. But one thing that crossed my mind is when I was a kid, one of the, when you're a kid, you get taught things, and hopefully if they're good things, you abide by them, and you carry it with you throughout the rest of your life. Hello to Adventure America. But one thing that crossed my mind a little bit earlier that I've thought about a lot of times since I've been taught it is if you can't say something nice or anything nice, don't say nothing at all. And I think that's really good advice. And it ain't just kids, but I know sometimes it is kids, but I wonder, does that old saying still get taught, or did we quit teaching that? So it's one of either two things, that it's not getting taught anymore, or it's just getting ignored. One of the two, because there's a lot of A lot of things that shouldn't be said, you know. Hello to Chilo. Happy Sunday. Hello, Rudini. But that's, one of the things that I remember from my youth getting taught that is still just as true today. It's just, I wonder if people are still teaching. I'm sure there are, but I guess I don't hear it a lot anymore. Maybe that's why there's so much, you know, cruel things that are said. But maybe if we talked about it more, so that's why I'm talking about it. Something to talk about, get it out there. Maybe you'll talk to somebody else about it. Maybe somebody will hear it and apply it today. Like at some point, somebody told me that, and I applied it to my life. And I can't say I've had a perfect record of keeping that all the time. I wish I could, but do I try to make that my goal? Yeah. Speak nice or don't speak at all. Don't be cruel. You're just trying to get me to sing, Rudini. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. But what are some of the things maybe that you got taught as a kid that you applied that you're still holding to today? I'd love to hear y'all's different. I love I love sayings or proverbs or something that somebody passed down to you and you remembered it and it still gets used today. Keep on recycling that saying. Respect your elders, that's a good one. That's probably not being taught as much as it used to, but that's biblical. Let's see, Sheila says, my dad always said, tell me who you're with and I will tell you who you are and where you're going. Yeah, the sky is awesome. Shout out to Aries World, the cotton candy sky tonight. Sometimes it's cotton candy, sometimes it's orange and blue. It was a little bit orange and blue earlier when I first started walking. That's my favorite, the auburn colors. But I like the cotton candy sky as well. There's a Bible, when you said that, Sheila, a Bible verse that came to my mind is It's in Corinthians somewhere. I think it's in First Corinthians. It might be Second Corinthians, but it's evil communications corrupts good manners. We definitely get influenced by the people that we spend time with, whether for good or for bad. So teacher, you're just like me. One of your teams won and one of your teams lost when it comes to football, except for my college team won and my pro team lost, and you're the opposite. So we went 50-50 this week. I Sometimes I'll go back and watch my live streams and look at the comments that were made, and I didn't see those. I don't know if they didn't show up at all. A lot of times I think some of the stuff don't show up because I miss some stuff. Sometimes it's just me because I'm walking and talking and trying to pay attention to traffic as well. But I did like I missed some of this that is there. I can see because I don't remember seeing chicken permission. I didn't say hello to chicken permission that came up in here, but chicken permission, I guess that's one of the things that I was talking about. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all, because a lot of times you'll be in a chat room and the first thing somebody say when they pop into a chat room is not hello or how you doing, but just something rude, you know. And but chicken permission came in saying, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." So thank you for that chicken permission, because that's one of my favorite Bible verses. Philippians 4:13 is a great verse. Thank you for sharing that. Rosebud gives another Bible verse. Hello to Ken C. Rosebud says our words can either speak life or death into someone's life, and that's in the book of Proverbs. It says death and life are in the power of the tongue. So that's so true. Every word that you say, every word that I say, every word that anybody says, it's going to do one or two things. It's either going to help or it's going to hurt. And that's why we need to think about what we say before we say it. Be slow to speak, like James talks about. If you're slow to speak, you'll think about what you say before you say it. And if I think before I say it and I look at you and say, is this going to help him or hurt her? You know, help or hurt. It's going to do one or two things. And if it's going to hurt you, then I don't need to say it. If it's going to help you, that's the things we need to talk about, because we're supposed to help each other out. Just Roy delivery. Did I have chicken's permission to what? Did I miss? Oh, I got you. That's right. That was the person's name. I don't know if chicken permission's still here, but thank you for dropping a Bible verse. I, I'd love more of that. The first thing somebody said when they came to one of my chat rooms was a Bible verse. That would make my day. So from now on, everybody that comes into my chat room, first thing you need to do is drop a Bible verse and then say hello. That's a rule now. I'm just kidding. I believe in free will. Y'all come in and say whatever you want to say, but try to apply what I started out with. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. It would help me and it would help you. And that's applicable to anybody that you face today or you'll face tomorrow. If I can't say something nice to this person, I just need to not say anything. So I got taught that at an early age. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. In other words, breathe through your nose. When you're breathing through your nose, you're not breathing through your mouth. In other words, your mouth is closed. Um, Hello to Muhammad El Karafi. Appreciate you stopping by. Happy Sunday. If it's Sunday where you're at, or if it's Monday, happy Monday. The Rushmore Show, Top 4 Ranking Podcast. All right, since Rushmore just came into the chat, guys. Y'all say hello to Rushmore, Kirk. Since he's in here, and if y'all have ever watched the show, he talks about top 4 different subjects. So go check him out. Watch his shows. Usually comes on Thursdays, I believe. But he, um, but since he's in here, and since I was talking about maybe proverbs or something that somebody taught you at a young age that you still applicable today that has helped you through your life. So with that being said, the top four words of wisdom or advice that you've received in your life. Go for it. Hello to Nature Dog Rims. I love it, Roy. Hey, fill it up, fill up the chat with Psalms 119. I love it. See, another thing I love that Rushmore just said, because this is the things that make you go, moment. Um, because I love when somebody says something to me and it makes me think. So if I've done that to somebody else, that's cool. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That would probably be my number one, Rushmore. The golden rule. Ken C says that I'm not any better than anyone else. Heard that very young. That's something great to hear very young, Ken. That's something we all need to hear because that's truth too. That every one of us, don't matter what part of the planet you're on, what color you are, if you're male, female, how much money you have, you were made in the image and likeness of God. With that being said, we're all level. That God don't make mistakes. Now we make mistakes, so that's we can't look down on people, but we can look on down on things that are wrong. That's what God does. He looked down from the cross. Jesus looked down from the cross in forgiveness, and we can do the same thing. But he didn't look down on people because he made them. He made us in his image. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. That's everybody. Integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. That's good. Um, I see where you're asking for wrenches, Deb, and I may do that. Not right now because a lot of times I'll get lost. I'll lose the focus. But sometimes I go back and watch the live streams and give wrenches that way or different ways. But I don't have a certain rhyme or reason on giving wrenches. But and it may not be no offense against anybody. Sometimes I don't know. But no, if I don't give you a wrench, I ain't got nothing against you. Um, let's see. Aries Virgo's having dinner. Enjoy your meal. Steve says he's fairly new. Um, I appreciate you being here, Steve. And that's the cool thing about this to me is you know getting to know people. That's one of the reasons I like to go live is just getting to know people from around the world. So I'm new to, and I haven't been doing live streams. I've been doing live streams less than a year, so I'm new to pretty much all of y'all. But I know more things about some than I do others. But it's to me it's an enjoyable ride. I love to get to know more about people. It's cool. Um, and sure to your question, Kurt. Yeah, Todd. I used to know all the different names for the different kinds of clouds. There's a big variety of the names of them. But that's one of the things is if you don't use it, you lose it. And I quit thinking about stuff like that. I still love clouds, but as far as the different names, I can't identify them like I once did. But there are no time machines. We can't go back in time. I've talked about that before. We can go back in time if we smell something that takes us back, or we hear music that takes us back, a song. But if I could go back in time, I think I might would be a meteorologist. Are you serious? Are you serious? I'm gonna ask Siri. Is it Siri? I don't have an iPhone, so I can't do that. Another thing, that was one of the teachings that I was taught early on is, if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. Another thing that crossed my mind earlier, I was in Aries Worlds Live, and he was talking about being thankful, and I believe we all should be. And I believe the more we're thankful, the more thankful we are, the less we'll complain. Because if you get to focusing on things you're thankful for, complaining is like the very opposite. So the more time we're spending being thankful, the less time we'll have to give to complaining about things. And the Bible tells us to do all things without disputings and murmurings. That's complaining. We're not supposed to complain. We ought to be thankful. But Aries was talking about being thankful. And my dad, when we were kids, me and my brother, we used to play a game. We would go through the letters of the alphabet, and it would be on different subjects. But it was just something to have fun with between me, my dad, and my brother. But he would we would take turns, and we started A, and like my dad would say an animal that started with A, and then my brother would say an animal that started with B, and I would say an animal that started with C, and we'd go through the whole alphabet naming animals. That was fun, and we had different subjects. And I turned that into a game. Just I don't remember how long it's been, but in my life, and I try to do it from time to time, is just go down the alphabet. Whether you're laying down at night, you can't sleep. That's something you can do to help you go to sleep. Go through the alphabet A to Z and think of things you're thankful for. Or I try to do it like while I'm walking sometimes. But there's not a bad place to be thankful. But um, so maybe we can play that game as a chat tonight. All right. So I'm gonna start us off with A, and then I won't call anybody's name, but y'all, let's see if we can get from A to Z. I know there'll be a few challenging letters, but I'll start off with A, and we'll go try to see if we can get to Z. All right. So I'm thankful for Alabama, my home state. I don't think Alabama's better than any other state, but it's a place that God has placed me in. He's placed me in this position, this place for a designed purpose. So I'm thankful for Alabama. Um, so from that point, you can either name an A also, or you can keep it going down the list. But we got to go in order. So don't say something C if you don't see where anybody said anything B in the chat. Don't put your C yet. Maybe we can get an order thing going here. So I've said A. Somebody drop a B, and we'll go from there. Something you're thankful for that starts with the letter B. Yeah, I see where you said, Kurt, and more humbleness is. I mean, all of that's good. I was reading the verse in Micah, the prophet Micah, the minor prophet. He talked about walking humbly. God requires us to walk humbly before the Lord. It's a requirement. So Rosebud got us butterflies. That's something to be thankful for. One of God's creation. I love watching butterflies. We got Todd Saul got Christ. That's to me the greatest thing to be thankful for. So we heading down the ABCs. I like it. And Ken C's got his brother back on B. That's a great thing to be thankful for, brothers. The death of Christ is the D. Dogs. I mean, Calvin, the Boston Terrier, is naturally going to answer dogs. Definitely something to be thankful for, dogs. Um, Dallas Cowboys. And and the cool thing about, animals, it's biblical to treat animals, not to mistreat them, but to treat them, good. Um, they were made lower than humans, though. I believe you can overlift them, I guess, but we can also undertreat them. But I was thinking about how God uses animals to teach us different things, and that's definitely something to be thankful for. Our animals. We got the Eagles. I love eagles. The Auburn War Eagles. I love the eagle animal. Probably my favorite bird. I love Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. I love that verse. Um, let's see. Dreams was a good answer for D. I like how Ty was emphasizing the kind that fly and not the football team. Naturally, that would come from a Cowboys fan. um, let's see. So we got Eagles, football. Football's great, as long as it's not, elevated above God for sure, is a great thing. And then G, thankful for God. Evenings is a good answer for E. Yeah, that's cool, Jeff, that, animals can make you feel better. Dogs can teach you about loyalty. Sometimes animals are better than people, which is sad, but true. We got, I don't forgot where I was on my, oh yeah, I need an F. Where's an F? No, we got football. I need a G. Did I miss G? Hello to Sonal. Happy Sunday. I must have missed the G. Oh, Grace. There we go. Yeah, we got to keep it. This has got to be orderly, guys. Hope is one of my favorite words, Deb. I love the word hope. Somebody said home. There's no place like home. Um, although the best home is the one if we haven't been to yet, because really, in all truth, this world is not our home. We're just passing through. We're pilgrims in this place. Ice is a good answer, especially on a hot day. Um, Ice cream is a great answer. That's cool. Um, did anybody get the J? Oh, Jesus. You got Jesus. I see it now, Rushmore. Oh, there was an F. It was football, Ty. It's hard keeping up with y'all. I, J. Where's K? Okay, so Rushmore got his 3 kids. All starts with K. Carson, Cannon, and Kenna. Shout out to Rushmore's 3 kids. The Special K's. That's cool. Lobster. You can be thankful for lobster. Not when they bite you or nothing, when they pinch you. But hello to Foothills of Appalachia. Howdy. Hope you're doing well. We're just talking about things we're thankful for, and we're going down the alphabet, kind of playing a game just to jog our memory. Joy is a great answer. I love the word joy. Thankful for nights. Kindness is a great word. That was another word I was thinking about today. Back to what I was saying about in the book of Micah, the minor prophet. It talks about what does God require of us, and it talked about walking humbly, but it also talked about love and mercy. We ought to love mercy, and to me, mercy is kindness. And we get kindness from God, and we ought to, be kind to one another. I love that word kindness, which is, fruit of the Spirit. Love is also a fruit of the Spirit. Peace is also a fruit of the Spirit. Mornings are great. Thankful for mornings. Love mornings. Where is the end at? Memories are great. Hello to Sock Monkey. I appreciate you stopping by. Happy Sunday. Y'all getting way ahead of love the Lord. Yeah. Mornings. What was our end? Did I miss the end? Nice. Was the word nice for an end or needed? Oh. Yeah, I love the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit, where there's a presence of God, there's a presence of the fruit of the Spirit. But where there's an absence of God, if there's an absence of love somewhere, there's an absence of God. If there's an absence of peace, there's an absence of God. And you can go through the whole list because it's the fruit of the Spirit. It's the fruit of God. It's not the fruit of me or the fruit of you or fruit of anything else, but the fruit of God. So where God is, His Spirit is, and the fruit is there. So, when we talk about, lacking patience or self-control or the different fruits of the Spirit, where there's an absence of those things shows an absence of God. It's really like a way to self-evaluate ourselves. Hello to Aries World. Aries World, you're the reason I'm talking about what I'm talking about. You said you was talking about being thankful. So it made me think about games that my dad used to play with me and my brother, where we would go through the alphabet, take turns naming different subjects. Like sometimes it would be animals, and like my dad would start off with A, my brother would say something that starts with a B that was an animal, I would say something that was C with an animal. We'd go through the whole alphabet naming animals. But I do that from time to time just by myself with things that I'm thankful for, to jog my mind of just, to get my mind on things I should be thankful for. And as my mind is on being thankful, it don't give me an opportunity to complain. And that's what I need, because it's so easy to complain, right? Hello to Madden Morris. Aries says sorry he's late, but Aries, you're not late. I don't have an open and closed sign on my door. Did we get through the whole alphabet? Hello, Aries, my old friend. I see you in alive again. I've never understood the song "The Sound of Silence" because as they're singing it, they're making sound. So how do they call it the sound of silence? I don't remember anybody saying bacon or bear, but now's your chance. But there's a song that I love. It's called "So Much to Thank Him For." Um, and a lot of times, if you think about it, if you think about it though, there's probably less songs about being thankful than there are in Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. When you think of Thanksgiving songs, what do you think? I know there are like hymn songs, but I guess Thanksgiving is one of those lesser things that's sung about that it really probably should be sung about more than anything else. And maybe if we talked about it more, somebody be inspired more to write songs that are Thanksgiving songs. Prayers for peace is a great answer. Yeah, that's the thing about song lyrics is, you can read one person that says it's about this, they're talking about this, and another person that says it's about this. You can even ask like different members of groups sometimes, and they'll give you different answers. So sometimes it's hard to figure out exactly what a song's about. But if we wrote more Thanksgiving songs, there wouldn't be no. You don't have to wonder what is he talking about. That's a great point, Jeff. Q for question. Without them, you can't learn. T for Thanksgiving. And y'all know we. I mean, when you say the word Thanksgiving, or I say the word Thanksgiving, the first thing that'll probably come to your mind is like the fourth Thursday in November, or you'll think about turkey, or you'll think about football, which those are things. There's nothing wrong with those things, but Thanksgiving is not a one day a year thing. It's something that should be a lifestyle of the attitude of gratitude. And when I'm not living that lifestyle, whenever I'm complaining, I'm out of the place that I need to be because I'm never called to complain. None of us are. And if you get into the Word of God, a theme that's common throughout Scripture is contentment. And where there's contentment, there's an absence of complaining. It's when you're discontent is when you get into it gets you in places you don't need to be in your mind and in your actions. That's what happened in David's life when he was content in his life. We have Psalms 23, which is a beautiful picture of thanksgiving, a beautiful picture of contentment, being thankful for God and his leadership, you know. But then there's time in his life where he wasn't content and he wanted things that weren't his. He was dissatisfied, and that got him into a place that he didn't need to be in. And there was consequences for that. And it's true in our life. But man, if we can get stronger in our minds of being thankful, we'll have less time to complain. Hello to Norma Raymond. Happy Sunday. Yeah, there's a song called that, Sonal. God works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. It's a hymn song written by William Cowper. Umbrellas on a rainy day. I like it. And also as you're being thankful for umbrellas on a rainy day, you can also be thankful for whoever the person was that I don't know who invented the umbrella, but whoever did, we can be thankful for that guy. Unity is a great thing. As long as you're united, under God. You can be united under the wrong things, but unity is a beautiful thing. One of my favorite verses deals with unity. It's in the Psalms. It talks about how, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. That's one of my favorite verses from the Psalms. And you can. It was it was during one of my live streams that I thank God for the buzzard. Maybe you don't hear that a lot. Thank God for the buzzard. A lot of times when you think of the buzzard, the vultures, you think, man, them some nasty animals. They have a smell to them. But if there were no vultures, think about how dirty the world. I mean, the world is dirty in a way, but you think about how more dirty the world would be if there was no vultures to clean up all the mess that they do. You know. Hello to Stats. But my favorite, I love quartet singers, gospel singers that are quartets, and my favorite quartet of all time was from Ohio, um, called the Cathedrals, and they had a song one time. My favorite singer with them was his name was George Yance. He's passed away, but you know, I have these people. I guess that would be a good Rushmore topic too. When you get to heaven, what would be your top four people you'd want to meet? And I know Jesus would be at the top of my list, but I've always said George Yance. I've always wanted to meet him, the bass singer for the Cathedrals. But he had a song, and I encourage y'all, if you want to Google it, you want to YouTube it, the video's out there. But the song is The Cathedrals Are George Yance, Younce. But he had a song called Forgive Me When I Whine, Whine, whine or complain or cry. Because, I don't know you, but you probably have complained in your life at some point. Hopefully not recently, but if you have, you know, um, God help us because we shouldn't. But that's a song that tells a story, and it just focuses in on, God forgive me when I whine, when I'm not thankful, because I can always be more thankful. Deb says my favorite was the pencil. Keep thinking about it. Well, that's cool, Deb. Um, which I love feedback, right? Hearing back from people. So I appreciate you sharing that, Deb. And I don't really get caught up too much in the likes. Yeah, you want to be. Everybody wants to be liked. You want likes in your videos, but I did know. I think on that video was probably my most liked live stream, the one where I talked about the pencil. So that to me is a good the thing I do like about thumbs is kind of a feedback and indicator of, I mean, hopefully you're being honest and you really did like it, not just to be hitting a button. But if people liked it, that's good feedback from me that, that's stuff that which I know sometimes you can talk about things that are true and still people won't like it, but I love the feedback, and I enjoyed talking about the pencil. Um, and like I said, that wasn't original with me. I read it somewhere else, but yeah, I've been thinking about the pencil as well. Xylophone. Oh, I forgot. We're still going down the alphabet. Foothills of Appalachia. That's one of my favorite hymn songs. A Beautiful Life. Um, in a lot of ways I love that song because in the song to me it's pretty much painting a picture of Jesus. A beautiful life, the most beautiful life that has ever lived is Jesus. So to me in that sense, a beautiful life is talking about Jesus, but it's also talking about what my life and what your life can be. We have the potential to be Christ-like in our everyday lives, and it kind of talks. That's what I get out of that song. And another thing that I really like about that song, A Beautiful Life, is nowhere in that hymn song, A Beautiful Life, does it say a beautiful life. I love that about it. Most songs, whatever the title of the song, at some point they're going to say it within the song, but A Beautiful Life, the song never says a beautiful life. But I love that song. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done. Where there will be, and I know I'm out of key, no setting sun. To be a child of God each day. Man, that's a great song. I love that song. Win for W is a good answer. Man, and that's probably a thing that we take. Somebody mentioned about taking things for granted, and we probably all do. But we probably take the win for granted a lot. But man, I've had a road construction job, and that's when I appreciated the win the most, probably in my life, is working road construction. Because I fought the sun that was above my head that was hot, and then I'm standing right over asphalt that's super hot. So and then the wind comes along, and it made a huge difference. But there's so much things in our lives that we take for granted that makes a huge difference, that God has given us, the goodness of God. 3 in the morning for Peter Van. Good night, Peter. Appreciate you stopping by. Happy Monday to you. It's still Sunday here, but happy Monday there. Hope you have a great Monday remainder. Get you a lot of rest. Hey, and if you can't sleep, Peter, go through the alphabet A to Z. It'll get your mind in the right place. There's never a wrong time to be thankful. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go. Aries was just driving behind the Ghostbusters car. How cool was that? Did you get a video? And was Dan Aykroyd driving it? Dun, 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 dun. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Hey, on the back, on the bumper of it, did it say, "How's my driving? 1-800 Ghostbuster." Yeah, I'd love to see a video of that. That's funny. One of the most back to what I was talking about being thankful. Stats wants a marshmallow now. Back to what I was talking about being thankful. One of the most unique things I've ever heard somebody say they're thankful for. I mentioned me being thankful for buzzards, but Corey Tinbaum, if you've never read about her, I'd encourage you to read about her. She's got a movie about her, The Hiding Place. She's got autobiographies, got books written about her. But there's a story about her, and she was in concentration camp, and like they had smuggled Bible. They had they had Bibles, but they had to keep them hid. And like the guard was coming around to check, and but they had fleas where they were at, so the fleas like prevented the guard from doing a check on her. And so she thought, and there's a lot to it. I can't recall the story exactly. Like I said, I need to go back and read it myself. But anyhow, fleas we think of as a bad thing. If you got animals, if you ever got bit by a flea, they are bad. But she was thanking God for fleas because fleas were used for a good thing in her life. And so there's a lot of things that we might see, like I said, a vulture, it's something that's bad, but there's good in it, that God can use it for good. But if we really thought about things harder like that, we could find more things to be thankful for. I think a lot of times we just don't slow down enough. I guess might be one of the deterrents to being more thankful is just we live in a fast-paced society, and you get caught up in the race of life. You don't slow down enough to give credit where credit's due. Yeah, there's a reason for everything. That's biblical. That's Ecclesiastes. To everything, there's a time and a purpose under heaven. Time to be born, a time to die, time to be quiet, a time to speak. And the list is long, but I love that. Ecclesiastes. Yeah, we are exactly where I mean, for the most part, I agree with that. If you're in a place, David, like I was talking about David earlier, he was in a place. David was the leader of the army, and he was supposed to be with his soldiers. Instead, he was in a place he shouldn't have been, and it led him to do things he shouldn't have done. But I know what you're saying when you say that. Um, I believe you were born where you were born for a purpose, for a reason. A- and I think about that with the time too. You and I could have been born in the 1200s, or we could have been born before Christ. But that's to me the unique thing about talking to y'all is we're every one of us here. were born during this time period, and that's, unique to me for a purpose. But sometimes, we complain about, and I've talked about this before, we might complain about dirty dishes or dirty clothes. But if you got dirty clothes, that means you were alive and you you were active and you got, a chance to get them dirty. And you can be thankful you got a washing machine, and the dirty dishes means you had something to eat today or you had something to drink today. A lot of times we just get our minds into the what I call stinking thinking. Our thought life can be stinking, and that whenever our thought life is stinking, that leads to actions that stink. Quit doing that, Jeff. Quit setting the AC at 67. See what you're doing. You're making the price of hotel rooms go higher because they had to pay for you. I'm just kidding, man. Just kidding. And God is good. Amen to Rosebud. Um, and I think sometimes people don't they misunderstand who God is and the goodness of God because God is good. He's always good. So to me, that means every day is because God is the designer, the creator of each day. So every day is good because He made the day. But we have things that happen during the day that are not good. But is that reflective of God and the goodness of God? No, it's a reflection on us as people that have made mistakes. That's why, to begin with, as I go walking, I see trees that have died. Why is that? It's because of sin. Back before, Adam and Eve sinned, everything, nothing died. Nothing. Animals, trees, I mean, all life forms lived. But when sin entered the world, that's why we have death. It's not reflective of God and who He is. It's reflective of who we are. There's a penalty, a payment for sin, and that's part of the payment is the curse of death. But it's not reflective of God. It's reflective of us. But I'm thankful that God don't leave it like that. That that paradise was lost in Genesis, but I'm thankful you can read the end of the Bible and find out about that paradise will be restored. There's good news in the Bible, but there's also bad news. But I'm thankful for the good news. That another one of my favorite verses is Romans 6:23. Romans 3:23 says, "All have sinned and come short of the glory of God." That's why we have problems in the world. We mess things up. But Romans 6:23 says, and the payment for that, the wages of sin is death. And that's physical death, but that's also spiritual death. That means separated from God forever. That's what the payment for sin is. But I love the rest of that verse. It says, "The gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord." So I'm thankful. That's how on my Thanksgiving list, as we talk about different letters, the R word, remedy. We have a sin problem, but God gives us a remedy. But remedies are only good if you apply it, right? It's like if your doctor prescribes you a medicine, what good is it if you don't take it? And God gives us the cure, the remedy, the medicine that we all need to get to heaven. He's done His part. When Jesus died on the cross, He said, "It is finished." He done everything possible for me, for you, and everyone that's ever been born or will be born to go to heaven. He done his part, but the part that remains is have we done ours to accept the mercy, the grace, the forgiveness of God. Those things are awesome to be thankful for. Our grace, kindness that we don't deserve, mercy that He don't give us what we deserve, um, love, God's love, man. High on my list of things to be thankful for. Troy says, I have only had to turn my heater on twice since 2012. That's something to be thankful for. In a sense, I know that would also be an opportunity to complain. You know, it's going how you looked at it. But I would say that's something to be thankful for. All right, Son, I'll get you some rest. Have a great remainder. I appreciate you stopping by. There's Matty Ice Cards. I'm sorry I ain't catching up with all the chat. Like I said, I'm watching traffic, but hope Maddie's doing well. When are the Broncos and Colts playing? I never looked at the time. I just seen that they were playing each other. Which this is cool because the K and Mac Project is a Denver Broncos fan, and Matty Ice is an Indianapolis Colts fan. And we can come in here and all get along. That's so awesome. Colts won on the last second field goal. What in the, are you serious? Are you joking there, Matty? Is that wishful thinking or is that what really happened? I hope he's just joking because the Colts are my second favorite team. Can I get a non-Colts fan to verify what Matty Ice just said? I believe you, Matty. I'm just messing. I'm just messing with you. Another good game. I was talking about that earlier. A lot of close games this week in both the college and pros. My kind of games. $29-28. I said may the best horse win, and now we know. The Buffalo fan has confirmed. But see, all of us Colts, Broncos, uh, Saints, Bears, Bills, all of us, we still can get along. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Green Bay Packers, yeah. Sports car ripping teacher is a Packers fan. Deb is a Packers fan. Aries wants to hear a different score. Same with me, Aries. I'm a Saints fan. Well, glad you made it home, Aries. That's good to hear. Audra, we love Raiders fans as well. I used to be a Raiders fan back when Bo Jackson was there. I'm an Auburn fan, so I liked the Raiders back when Bo was there. Tim Brown, Marcus Allen, three great players back in the day with the Raiders. Popcorn. Oh yeah, I was talking about. I remember one thing I was wanting to talk about. The somebody had mentioned about being thankful for umbrellas, and I said you could be thankful for the person that invented the umbrella. I was also thinking about, and this is one of my things about when I get to heaven. I talked about who I would want to first see when I got to heaven. This is another thing. Y'all may have heard me say this before. I don't know. I can't remember who I tell stuff to. But I always say when I get to heaven, one of the people I want to talk to is the guy that invented the alarm clock. I want to go find the guy that invented the alarm clock and tell him thank you. See, that's another focus on Thanksgiving. So I want to get to heaven and at some point find the guy. Hopefully he's there, the guy that invented the alarm clock, and say thank you. And I appreciate it. It's helped me a lot in my life. But then I want to go around and find the guy that invented the snooze button. The guy that invented the snooze button and ask him why. What were you thinking, man? you know, yeah, Kenny Stabler played at Alabama, but that was before my time, so I don't remember them. But I have watched the highlights. I like the different Raiders from times past. I remember John Madden, the head coach, one of the head coaches of the Raiders. Al Davis, the owner, he was like the owner forever. Seemed like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Are you trying to change the subject, Jeff? Jeff is tired of talking about football. No, you should be wanting to talk about football, Jeff. Your team won today. Oh, we got another Bears fan in the house, y'all. Adam's car closet. Another Bears fan. Hope you're doing well, Adam. Adam recently had a birthday, y'all. Y'all wish Adam a happy birthday, a belated birthday. But it was recent enough that we can say happy birthday to Adam. He's season soon. Hello to Daisy May. Daisy must have heard us talking about the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I like John Madden. I like Frank Caliendo's imitation of him too. Frank Caliendo does a great John Madden. Um, well, since Adam was here, I can talk about one of my favorite autographs that deals with John Madden. I got a like a eight by 10 picture signed by John Madden, and it's in front of his bus, the Madden bus, because John Madden didn't fly airplanes. Jeff just showed a picture of his airplane he rode, but John Madden, he didn't show pictures of his airplane because he didn't ride them. He rode that bus. Yeah, I haven't seen Frank Caliendo lately, but I love some of his impressions. All right, Rowdy, I appreciate you stopping by. Hey, thank you for reminding me of that song, "Beautiful Life," because that's one of my favorites. I'm still singing it in my head. I quit singing it out loud because I didn't want the numbers to drop. But that's a great song. If y'all have never heard the hymn song, "It's a Beautiful Life," check it out. It's great lyrics. I love me some lyrics, but it paints a picture of what a beautiful life looks like. I wish my brother was really good at doing impressions. I I, I can't do them so much, but he would do like Howard Cosell. This is Howard Cosell. I can't do it, but he had a unique voice, Howard Cosell. How does a New Englander talk? I've never been to New England. There may be filters out there. I know I've heard them. I've heard live streams of people from New England. But and I've watched the Celtics play, but maybe there's a filter. Maybe they sound just like me. But since we got some Bears fans in here, and you're talking about New England, the very first Super Bowl that I ever watched was 1986. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Um, it wasn't very fun to watch. Like I've already mentioned, my favorite football games are the close ones. I don't like them to be blowouts unless it's my favorite team. Like if you was a Patriots fan in 1986, you like that kind of game. But I don't like blowouts unless they're, like I said, my favorite team. I said it the other way around though. The Bears win big, not the Patriots. What am I talking about? I just had a brain mess up, brain malfunction error. Hello to the girl dad. The girl dad is Andy. So hello to Andy. Good to see that Alabama rebounded this week, Andy, in their football game. I felt like they were. I think I told Jeff that Alabama should win easy. Somebody was asking about Alabama versus Wisconsin this week. I said they should win pretty easy, and they did. It's bad when a kitchen appliance scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I think he's still the heaviest person to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I don't think nobody's broke that record, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I saw Daisy May at the beach earlier. Saw the lighthouse. Love watching the lighthouse. Auburn didn't beat Alabama. That's coming up later, girl. Oh, you corrected it. Okay. Yeah, that'll be later. But I'm glad you're already confessing it ahead of time. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed in Auburn in that game. Even though they won by a couple of touchdowns, they didn't really impress me too much. No, you done spoke it. You done spoke it into existence. Auburn beat Alabama. See, we're due because how many in a row is remind me how many in a row is Alabama beat Auburn? I know I'm biased, but I believe that the Auburn Alabama game is the greatest football game to watch, whether it's high school, college, pros. That's a biased statement, I know, but that's my opinion, anyhow. Yeah, I was thinking that I started to sing it, Jeff. I came like super close to singing it, but Shania, just in case Shania is watching, I didn't want to disappoint her. Because you know what she would say? If I sung the song and Shania dropped by, she would sing the lyrics all over again. That don't impress me much. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, she'd come up with a new version of that song. Yeah, I'm laughing too, inside and out. I appreciate you saying that, Todd. Yeah, Girl Dad is great, and I love his interaction with his daughters. His partner in crime was here earlier, Kirk from the Rushmore show. He mentioned his children as well, so they're family oriented. I like that. They do taste tests and different things. He's all right, even though he's an Alabama fan. But he says he hasn't made a video in a while. But since Todd mentioned it, and so that's some feedback for you, Girl Dad. You're due for another video. Yeah, you did. I appreciate that, Girl Dad. And not only you, but Aries World that's in here also done the same thing. The Va Wa Ma Sa challenge. Um, and if you, I love going back and looking at that because my brother filmed that. Most time when I do videos, I hold the phone myself. But on that particular video, my brother was um, he filmed that for me. The Va Wa Ma Sa challenge. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Andy's lost a lot of weight, so I guess you still can do like health food, like a salad, taste test, drink some V8s. There's alternatives, you can do different routes. Hey y'all, Aries World and Girl Dad, y'all tell Troy he's asking about the vanilla and the mayo and vanilla wafers. So if y'all can give him some feedback on that, tell him how great the combo of those two are. We might have another video out there. Yeah, you hurt. I remember you hurt my feelings, Girl Dad, because you said I sat on a throne of lies. I haven't forgot that yet. I'm not holding grudges, but that saying is stuck in my mind ever since you said it. But see, I don't sit on a throne of lies. I was telling the truth. I mean, I can't say I love it. I had to retrace my steps, but I don't think it's bad. I don't eat it every day. I don't even eat it probably once a year. But did it exceed my thinking of what I thought it might taste like? Yes. I really believe that vanilla wafers and mayonnaise mixed together taste better than it sounds. I really do. So no throne of lies here. All right, Rosebud, I super appreciate you stopping by. Um, and I hope you have a great night, a great Sunday remainder. It always means a lot anytime anybody stops by. I guess the moon will be out later. I was looking around for it. Um, I went live a little last night, and I was looking for the moon, and then like not long after I stopped, I seen it. It had finally came up. It was real pretty. Who does Alabama play this coming up week? Auburn's got Oklahoma, which would be their first real challenge of the year. I mean, who don't have mayonnaise and vanilla wafers in their cabinet somewhere? In your pantry, just for the try of it. I mean, nobody has died. You haven't read about anybody dying from eating a vanilla wafer mayonnaise sandwich. And if they did, I didn't read about it. Maybe your favorite thing. Georgia on the 27th, so they got a bye week. Georgia should have lost to Tennessee. I watched the end of that game. Okay, so I'm going with the home team. Whoever the home team of the Alabama Georgia game is going to be the winner. So is it at Alabama or at Georgia? Yeah, Nebraska probably has a hard game coming up since they started off with easier teams. That's the way Auburn did. All right, Troy, now you have something to put on your shopping list. You got to have you some vanilla wafers on your list. Any brand of vanilla wafers will do. You don't have to go with the best kind. Oh, I'm picking Georgia. Okay. Well, I'll be pulling for Alabama. I pull for Alabama except for when they're playing Auburn. I will be pulling for Alabama, but since it's at Georgia, I'm going to predict that Georgia wins by a field goal. I don't understand this next message. Troy, not Troy from Texas, but Troy's cars, and comments comes in saying, no, never pull for Alabama. I always pull for Alabama except for when they play Auburn. And y'all notice there's an error in the comments that Troy misspelled go. Go Tigers. He's cheering for Auburn. He just misspelled it. Now the girl dad lives in Louisiana, but he says Roll Tide, which is kind of confusing as well. And he lives, well, Louisiana don't have a Major League Baseball team, but I remember him saying he was an Angels fan. There's just a lot of confusion out there. Uh oh. Oh, we got a video coming up, guys. Troy is going to pick up some vanilla wafers and make a video. Now, at no point have I said that vanilla wafer mayonnaise and vanilla wafer sandwiches is for everyone. So eater discretion is advised, but I like it. Not every day like it, but it's just an occasion. You know how you kind of get tired of stuff sometimes, right? So the vanilla wafer mayonnaise sandwich is just an alternative to kind of mix things up every once in a while. Just every once in a while. Um, the girl dad has got to go, and that reminds me, I got to go as well. The mosquitoes are biting, but I super appreciate everybody that stopped by tonight. I know we had some silliness mixed in with some seriousness, which is, I guess, kind of a who I am. I love to be silly, but not so much that you don't take me serious when I'm serious, you know, which is a danger sometimes. I think you can do that, but I appreciate everybody that stopped by tonight. It means a lot, it really does. I just want to remind everybody, we're going through this life together. You will have some uphills, but you will also have some downhills. There's good and bad, but encourage you to take God with you through the highs and the lows, and that's what makes the journey worth the while. But I want to remind everybody that I love everybody. I don't hate anybody, and it's all because of somebody who died for me. But good night, God bless. I hope to see y'all somewhere down the road.